I don't know what else could possibly call for a haul, except for my ginormous Barnes & Noble end of year sale haul. I did some damage. I have justifications for it that I promise I will give you because I need to make myself feel better, but I honestly don't feel guilty about this at all. Like, I feel very secure and very excited about these purchases, and you know, it's for work because I'm making a YouTube video about it. Right. I'm so excited to film that I didn't even brush my hair or reapply my lip gloss from when I just got home. Basically, I think my total was like 150 or 160 because of taxes in California being much higher, but I also bought a premium membership because I shop mostly at Barnes & Noble now. Barnes & Noble and small bookstores, because I used to shop for a lot of books on Amazon, but I'm trying not to do that anymore. I think I've maybe bought 1 or 2 books this entire year off of Amazon, and because of that I spent, you know, the one like big place that I bought books at this year that wasn't small bookstores was Barnes & Noble. The membership is $40. I've had the free one for like 2 years and the rewards are so great on that just by having the free membership. So highly recommend, if you don't already have that, you should get it. But I thought this year we could test it out, and maybe at next year's book haul for the Barnes & Noble end of year sale, I'll let you know if I repurchased it or not. $40, you get $10 off every time you shop, plus the rewards of regular that you always get. You still get those, and then I believe that there's like some other stuff I need to look into. I haven't like deep dived into it. Anyway, and then I literally, like, I knew that the extra 10% off would help, and I did like a quick Google search and a Reddit thread popped up of asking, is the Barnes & Noble membership worth it for the $40 a year? And all of the replies were, if you shop there a lot, yes. So I definitely want to look into what all of the perks are because I didn't have time to do that. My total was $130. Because I was going to say, I added up as I was shopping what my total was. Originally, with every book I picked out, I was at $120, and my budget, or like what I was attempting to spend, was $100. So I was like, oh, I need to put back one more. So I did, and that put me exactly at like $98 or something. If you didn't know, the sale this year was 50% off hardbacks and 25% off everything else, which, and because it was $100, I saved $10 exactly with my premium membership. We shall see. I think, let's see how many books I got. Or I think I got 8 books. Because then it also came with, when you got the premium membership, which this was great because I didn't remember to bring a tote bag, and I was like, this is a lot of books, like I can't possibly put this in like a paper Barnes & Noble bag. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna carry this home? With the premium membership you get a free tote bag, and I picked out this green one and it's so cute. So let's get into this haul. First things first, this actually my mom bought for me kind of as a belated Christmas gift because she had looked for one for me for Christmas, but she didn't find one that she loved, and then we went today and they had them on sale, obviously, since everything was 25% off. So she got me a little baking recipe book called Sweet Tooth, and I just flipped through this and it made me so excited. Like, everything in here looks amazing. There's cinnamon rolls, which I've been wanting to make, but the thing that secured my purchase, or my mom's purchase, was this funfetti crumb cake. Like, all of the recipes in here just look like so good. So I'm really excited to make some of those. Should we just stack the books right here? Where do we start? Okay, backstory too. I, for the past few years, have been like a mainly like romance, YA, fantasy, like that's kind of been my vibe. But the past like honestly month, 2 months, and then like a little bit throughout the rest of this year, I've been really trying to branch out. And then in this past month, I really have successfully branched out of that bubble I was kind of in. And I also got a library card, and going to the library and just picking random books, specifically nonfiction, has really also helped me break out of my fiction bubble. So highly recommend getting a library card and doing that. I read a book about animals, and then now I'm reading one about women in the American Revolution, and I have 2 more that I haven't read yet in this run because I go every like however many days before the books need to be renewed or turned back in. But that's kind of what helped me break out of that bubble, and now I need to widen the variety of books on my physical TBR because pretty much all of the books on my TBR fit that, and I just want to have more options when I'm going to select a book, because January is always my biggest reading month of the year. I know for some people it's summer or the end of the year, but for me, I read like 13, 14 books in January, like clockwork. So I have a feeling I'm probably gonna get through a lot of these actually. And I don't usually buy, like, I don't do big book hauls like this. Like, I usually buy 2, maybe 3 books tops at a time. Let's see. Okay, first, I literally just, like, walked through the entire store and picked up books as I went, and then I sat down and I sorted through them, and I eliminated 3 from the original group that I picked. My first pick was Pictures of Him by Claire Leslie Hall. I had her other book too. I don't know how many she's written, but I had 2 originally, and then I ended up picking this one because it felt a little bit more my kind of plot. But I read Broken Country by her. Actually, it was my most recent physical copy read, not Kindle, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was so well written, and I just really liked her style, so I'm excited to read another book by her. And this one's also kind of like twisty turny, not necessarily twisty turny like in a suspenseful way, but in like a, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this one is a bit more suspenseful, I guess, and it just looked really interesting. And I think the cover of her books are just like, I think that they're so gorgeous, and they represent the feeling of the book really well. Like the cover of Broken Country, I think had such a big impact on what I pictured when I read it, and I think it was like spot on. So I'm excited to see what this one feels like. I believe she's in a hospital, so maybe that's what this is. And it had pink words, and I like pink, so you know, just another reason to buy it. But this one is about Catherine, who lived a normal life. Her husband, they had 2 children, but there's like a lot of her past that's kind of unrevealed, and she doesn't really want anyone to know, I guess. She ends up having a breakdown when she kind of remembers some stuff about a former love, I'm guessing, and she ends up mute in the hospital, unable to talk to anyone or explain what happened to her husband or her children. And then it kind of shows her like remembering and the story of that first love, I believe. That's what I took away from it. It's kind of confusing the way the like end of the summary is, so I don't really know, but I just thought it seemed really interesting. And I read the first 2 pages of both of the books of hers that I picked up, and this one I was immediately pulled a little bit more into. This one actually had lower ratings on Goodreads, so I was kind of like not sure which one to go for. Next we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I don't know how to say the last name, but this is being made into a movie right now. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer in the time that you've gone to the theater recently, but I think the trailer looks so good. I don't know the entire lore on this, on like what people are feeling about the movie, but I think the trailer looks amazing personally. So sorry if I'm uneducated on that matter, but I really wanted to read the book before it came out, and I have until Valentine's Day, so it's plenty of time. And I feel like the movie looks just like cinematically gorgeous, and I want to have read the book first and know a bit more about the story, because I know it's obviously very famous. And this book was only $10 to start, so I got it for $7.50. Next, on my journey of breaking my reading bubble, I started reading Stephen King books. I read The Body, and then next on my TBR is The Mist, which are both novellas. And I actually think this is a novella too, but just a longer one. But I'm kind of like trying to work my way up, because I like scary things, but I'm also a bit of a scaredy cat, and I prefer scary movies. I haven't really, like, I like thrillers, but I don't usually read horror books, because the thought of it being like trapped in your head rather than on a screen that you can just turn off, a little bit scary. So I'm working my way up, because The Body wasn't really scary at all. It was more fiction. And then I'm gonna read The Mist, which is a little bit creepier. And then this one is listed on Goodreads as sci-fi horror, so I'm guessing it's a bit scarier too. But we have the Langlers probably sounds right, but I don't know. I'm gonna stop. By Stephen King, and this is about a red-eye flight from Los Angeles to Boston, which is a flight I have taken before. Not the red-eye, but I have taken that flight before. 10 passengers find that the crew and a bunch of the passengers are missing when they land, and that the airport is basically deserted. They're hearing this like weird noise, and one of the people on the flight believes it to be the Langlers, monsters that he had heard stories of when he was younger that he was terrified of. And the monsters attack people who waste time, and their flight basically ends up in a time rip. And then these creatures, which I don't know if they're actually the Langlers or not, but that's probably what they end up calling them in the book because of the story that he told. But they're basically trapped. There's these monsters closing in on them, and they have to try and fly the plane back to the right time, which I just think sounds really interesting. I've never heard anyone talk about this book by him, but I think that's part of the fun of this like journey I'm on of like going to the library and stuff, is just picking the most popular book. Like, and there's a couple other in here that I just like saw on the shelf and I was like, it just looks interesting. So that's why I chose it, because I don't think you can go wrong with Stephen King, and I don't think there's any rule book to it, so I've just been picking up the books in the order of what I find interesting. And I'm trying to work my way up to some of his scarier stuff, and if you watch my videos consistently, you've heard me talk about this before. So I'm gonna stop yapping about Stephen King and we're gonna move on. Next up, I have really been wanting to read a Kristen Hanna book so bad, and I ended up going with this one. It's not as thick as some of her other ones, so I feel like it's a slightly better starting point. This is Winter Garden, and this one had really great reviews on Goodreads. I'm really excited. I feel like her books are going to be really my vibe right now, and I don't think I'm going to start it next. I might wait until January, but yeah, if you read Kristen Hanna, let me know what your favorite book by her is, because she has a lot, and I definitely imagine I'll want to read more after this one. So next, every January pretty much unintentionally, me and my mom end up reading a like 500-page fantasy book together. And last year, I don't know if this was January or not, it might have been February, but last year we read Onyx Storm, and there isn't a new fourth being out this year. We both thought the concept of this one was really interesting, and it was 50% off for the hardcovers, so we both got Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I've never read a book by her before. I've heard such great things, and the concept of this one sounded so interesting. It's basically, this guy dies, it's our female main character's fault, or she feels that it could be her fault, and he's now in hell, and she goes in after him. Like, they use spells, and it's a fantasy, and they just try and find him in hell, basically, which just sounds really cool. And especially when you look at the cover, once you have that little backstory, it sounds so intriguing to me, so I'm really excited. It's 500 pages, so exactly the commitment I'm looking for, but I don't know. It's just always fun to do with my mom, and I never feel more accomplished than I do when I finish a 500-page giant chunky fantasy book. So, and I think that's what makes me read so much in January, is I read a long fantasy book and then I'm like, wow, I'm unstoppable. I just read 500 pages, I can read a 300-page book like it's nothing. So next, this is one of my little random finds that I've never heard anyone talk about before, but I thought it seemed really cool, and it's If Cats Disappeared from the World by Jinky Kawamura. I'm not sure exactly how to say her name, so I'm sorry if I butchered that. Oh, his. Our main character, it's diagnosed with an illness, he has months to live, and before he dies, the devil shows up with an offer. In exchange for making one thing in the world disappear, the postman, or our main character, will be granted one extra day of life. And the reviews I saw on Goodreads basically just said this like really makes you think, and it's such an interesting concept. I'm interested to see like what happens. It's only 150 pages, so it's pretty short. Next, I saw this on a table at the front. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner. It's called Night Watch by Jane Ann Phillips, and again, with my historical fiction little vibe I'm on right now, it says, in 1874, in the wake of the Civil War, 12-year-old Kona Lee finds herself on a journey with her mother Eliza, who hasn't spoken in more than a year. They arrive in West Virginia at a hospital entrance with a war veteran, and it's just a little bit about their life, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of hard to summarize this last little piece. But it says, Night Watch is a stunning chronicle of surviving war and its aftermath. And I was just kind of intrigued by it, and the fact that it's a Pulitzer Prize winner is very impressive, so it's safe to assume it's going to be good, and it also has a very pretty cover. Last but not least, I'm very, very excited about this one. We have An Ember in the Ashes. I remember this has been out for a while, but they recently changed the covers, and since they did that, I've heard so many people talking about this. It has a 4-point-something rating on Goodreads. Like, it has a really high rating, and I've just heard such great things, especially lately. And this is proof that people judge a book by its cover, because I definitely didn't hear about it nearly as much when it had the old cover, but it was only $14, so with the discount it definitely wasn't bad at all. But I thought, as far as still finding a fun fantasy series to read in the beginning of this next year, this would be a good one, and I'm with them on the cover change because I think this is so pretty. And it's a really like tall book, but the font isn't like really tiny or anything, so I'm not scared of it. I honestly really want to start this one now. This is my last book, I believe. So if you have any recommendations, by the time you're watching this, I'll probably already have read one, but on which one I should read next, let me know if you've read any of these, because I'm kind of overwhelmed and I want to read literally all of them right now, so I definitely need some advice. Anyways, that is my Barnes & Noble end of year sale haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you bought from this sale. I'm interested to hear, and love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribed, and I will see you in the next one.